2 trading days. That's how long it took for chip stocks to erase weeks of gains at the start of this quarter. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, coming off its best quarter ever, fell as much as 6% in a single session on July 2nd, on pace for its worst 2-day drop in a month. Broadcom alone had slid nearly 20% off its 52-week high. The reason floating around trading desks? Nerves about whether AI infrastructure spending can actually keep up with sky-high expectations, plus fresh reports of hyperscalers exploring in-house chip alternatives. Then, on Monday, July 6th, one announcement flipped the mood in a single morning. Apple confirmed it's extending its custom chip partnership with Broadcom all the way through 2031. Broadcom stock jumped as much as 6% before lunch. AMD gained 10%, Intel rose 5%. The entire chip sector caught a bid off the back of one company's supply agreement with one other company. Today, on Future AI Stocks, I'm John A.G., and we're breaking down exactly what this Broadcom-Apple deal actually includes, why the market reacted the way it did, and, just as importantly, what risks are still sitting underneath this rally that nobody's talking about on the way up. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing here is financial advice. Always do your own research before making investment decisions. To understand why the Apple-Broadcom news mattered so much, you need to see what it interrupted. In the first days of July, semiconductor stocks globally were sliding hard. In South Korea, Samsung and SK Hynix both fell more than 12% in a single session, severe enough to trigger a 20-minute trading halt on the Kospi DUE, the fourth such halt that year. Japan's Nikkei closed down over 3.5%. In Europe, ASML slid more than 5%. With Infineon, ASM International, and ST Microelectronics all losing between 5 and 8%. The stated reasons varied depending on who you asked. Rising bets on further Federal Reserve rate hikes under new chair Kevin Warsh, growing unease that big tech's AI capital spending could eventually oversupply the market, and a general sense that valuations across the sector had simply run too far, too fast, after the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index's 88% gain in the second quarter alone. By July 6th, Broadcom had fallen close to 20% from its $495 52-week high, and Erste Group analyst Hans Engel had just downgraded the stock. That's the backdrop the Apple deal landed on. Not a market at fresh highs, but a market actively questioning whether the AI trade had gotten ahead of itself. That context matters, because it explains why one supply agreement between two companies was able to move an entire sector. Investors weren't just cheering new business. They were relieved to get a concrete, dated, verifiable reason to believe the AI infrastructure story is still intact. Let's slow down and look at what was actually announced, because the details here matter more than the headline. On July 6th, Broadcom confirmed to Reuters that it had agreed to extend its long-running chip partnership with Apple through 2031. This isn't a brand new relationship. Apple and Broadcom have worked together for years, most notably on a multi-billion-dollar deal back in 2023 to secure US-manufactured components. What changed here is scope and duration. Broadcom will develop custom application-specific chips, ASICs, across multiple future generations of Apple products. The deal covers Broadcom's radio frequency components, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity chips, and other networking semiconductors that show up across the iPhone and the rest of Apple's lineup. That's significant because Apple has spent years trying to bring chip design in-house. Its own C1 and C1X cellular modems are one example of that push. But even with that insourcing effort, Apple has not been able to move away from Broadcom for RF engineering and wireless connectivity work. This deal confirms that gap isn't closing anytime soon. There's also a forward-looking piece. According to Bloomberg's reporting, Broadcom technology is built into Apple's in-development AI server chip, internally codenamed Baltra, which is reportedly targeting a rollout as early as next year to support Apple Intelligence's cloud infrastructure. So this agreement isn't only about phones, it's also about Apple's own AI compute build-out. On the financial side, reporting from StockTwits and other outlets citing Apple disclosures pegs the expanded arrangement at more than $30 billion in value, including a roughly $1.5 billion Apple investment tied to Broadcom's Fort Collins, Colorado manufacturing facility aimed at producing billions more US-made chips. For context on why this matters to Broadcom's bottom line, multiple outlets, including CNBC, have reported that Apple accounts for roughly 20% of Broadcom's total annual revenue. Locking that relationship in for another 5 years removes a meaningful piece of uncertainty from Broadcom's non-AI semiconductor business. Broadcom shares moved between roughly 4% and 6% higher across the session on July 6th, trading as high as $386 intraday after opening near $373, depending on the exact snapshot you look at. But the more interesting part of this story is what it did for the rest of the sector. AMD gained 10% the same day. Intel rose 5%. The iShares Semiconductor ETF ticker SOXX, moved higher alongside the group. None of those companies were party to the Apple deal, but their stocks moved anyway because the market read this as a signal about something bigger than Broadcom and Apple, whether the broader AI capital expenditure cycle still has real durable demand behind it, rather than just momentum and speculation. Options market positioning backed that read up. According to bar chart, the put-to-call ratio on AVGO contracts expiring in mid-September sat at 0.55, which traders generally interpret as a bullish skew, more calls being bought relative to puts, betting on further upside. On the analyst side, the picture is more mixed than the one-day price action suggests. Wall Street's average price target on Broadcom sits close to $517, implying meaningful upside from where the stock traded after the rally. But that same week, Erste Group's Hans Engel downgraded Broadcom to hold, citing valuation concerns, a reminder that not everyone read the rally the same way. It's also worth noting Broadcom's technical setup at the time. The stock had been sitting in what chart analysts call a descending channel, and the Apple-driven rally pushed shares up toward, but not conclusively through, key resistance levels traders were watching around the $377 to $398 range. In plain terms, the deal was a strong, real catalyst, but whether it fully reverses the recent downtrend was still an open question as of this recording. It's easy to make the story entirely about Broadcom, since Broadcom's stock made the bigger move. But this is a two-sided deal, and Apple's motivation here matters just as much. Apple has been dealing with real supply chain pressure from the ongoing global memory shortage, the same shortage we've covered on this channel affecting HBM and DRAM pricing across the industry. Locking in a long-term chip supply agreement with Broadcom through 2031 gives Apple something valuable in that environment: component security. It ensures a steady, predictable flow of custom silicon for future iPhones and other devices, without being fully exposed to spot market pricing or capacity shortfalls if memory and semiconductor supply stays tight. There's also a strategic signal buried in here. Apple has been steadily bringing more chip design in-house. Its C1 and C1X modems are proof it can execute on that when it wants to. If Apple were planning to fully replace Broadcom's RF and connectivity chips with its own designs in the near term, this wouldn't be the moment to sign a 5-year extension. Instead, the deal suggests Apple has concluded that, for RF engineering and wireless connectivity specifically, an external specialist like Broadcom still does it better or more efficiently than building it internally, at least through the end of the decade. For Apple shareholders, the read is less dramatic but still relevant. This is a company protecting a critical, high-margin supply chain relationship at a moment when input costs and component availability across the entire electronics industry are under pressure. Let's be balanced, because a good deal doesn't erase every risk on the table. Risk 1, this deal doesn't touch Broadcom's AI chip story, which is where the real valuation pressure sits. Broadcom's second quarter fiscal 2026 revenue of $22.19 billion came in slightly below the $22.27 billion analysts expected, and its third quarter AI semiconductor revenue guidance of $16 billion trailed consensus estimates near $16.36 billion. The Apple news is genuinely positive for the non-AI side of the business, but it doesn't change the questions investors have about whether Broadcom's AI growth rate can keep justifying its valuation. Risk 2, valuation remains stretched by traditional measures. Broadcom was trading at roughly 60 to 62 times trailing earnings even after this pullback. Erste Group's downgrade to hold specifically cited valuation concerns, not a change in the underlying business quality. A high multiple means the stock needs continued strong execution to hold its ground. Any disappointment tends to get punished harder than it would at a lower valuation. Risk 3. Broader sector sentiment is genuinely fragile right now. The two-day 12% decline in the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index that preceded this rally is a reminder that sentiment in this sector can swing quickly in both directions, driven by interest rate expectations, reports about hyperscalers exploring custom or in-house chip alternatives, and shifting views on how much AI capital spending the market can actually digest. Risk 4. Deal announcements don't always resolve technical downtrends. Even with a real, verifiable, positive catalyst like this one, Broadcom's stock was still working through a technical descending channel, meaning some chart-focused traders remained cautious about calling the downtrend fully over. None of this means the Apple deal isn't good news. It clearly is, and it's dated, confirmed, and verifiable rather than speculative. It just means one strong supply agreement addresses one specific risk, customer concentration, and long-term revenue visibility, without addressing the separate, ongoing debate about AI-driven growth expectations and valuation. Here's the frame to take away from this whole story. This wasn't a rumor, a leaked memo, or an analyst's speculative note. It was a dated, confirmed 5-year supply agreement between two of the largest companies in technology, the kind of concrete development that's genuinely rarer than the market-moving headlines we usually see in this sector. For Broadcom, it locks in roughly 20% of the company's annual revenue base through 2031, protects against the long-standing fear that Apple would eventually insource its chip needs entirely, and extends the relationship into Apple's own AI infrastructure plans through the reported Baltra server chip project. For Apple, it secures critical component supply during a period of real global memory and semiconductor tightness, while confirming that certain specialized chip categories, RF, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, remain more efficient to source externally than to build from scratch, even for a company with Apple's engineering resources. And for the broader chip sector, this single agreement became a proxy for a much bigger question the market has been wrestling with all year. Is the AI infrastructure build-out still standing on solid ground, or has the story gotten ahead of itself? For one trading session at least, the answer investors chose to believe was the former. That's the Broadcom-Apple deal, what's actually in it, why it moved an entire sector, and the risks still sitting underneath the rally. If this helped you separate the real signal from the noise, hit like E. It helps future AI stocks reach more people who want facts and context instead of hype. Drop a comment. Do you think this rally has legs, or is Broadcom still working through the bigger valuation question we talked about? I read everyone, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Subscribe to future AI stocks. I'm John A.G. I'll see you in the next one.